Okay.
We going?
We're on. We've been having issues with the mic quality and stuff, but hopefully that gets figured out before too long. Jaron needs to get a better mic.
Yeah, I need to stop being I need to stop being such a cheap ass, but
I thought there was no cussing.
cheap bottom. You're right.
Cheap bottom.
You're right. It's a donkey.
Yeah,
It's in the dictionary.
You're right.
It ain't swearing. It's in the dictionary.
What'd you get from Chipotle?
Well, I always get the burrito bowl, and I get white rice, extra chicken with extra chicken, black beans, cheese, tomato salsa, sour cream. Basically, it's just like a protein bowl.
Nice.
Protein it up.
Sweet.
And it's good. Vegetables. You don't need that. Who needs vegetables?
You don't get any lettuce.
Why? I'm not a rabbit.
You get corn? You
No.
don't get corn? Oh my gosh, dude.
Why on earth would I get corn?
Because they're so good together. Their corn's so good.
Corn is just starch. No denying.
Well, I like corn.
Corn, technically rice is too.
And I like the veggies. I get the veggies in there.
Gross, man.
No, it's really good. So there's a lot going on in the world.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
I thought it might be worth noting that I think that Putin is an a-hole, and I don't think there's a lot of people, even in Russia, who want this to be going on. And I think I just don't think Putin's a rational man.
No. Literally before you came over here, I was watching a bunch of stuff on YouTube. I was watching news article or watching news segments and stuff. Trying to get some research about it, try to figure out what's going on. Well, I got on TikTok and there's a guy over in Russia, speaks English, and he put on his TikTok page that most of Russians are totally 100% against this.
Yeah.
This is Putin. He's crazy. Please don't give Russians a bad name. It's Putin.
Yeah.
But I think most people here in the States would agree with that. This is Putin. This is not
right. Yeah, I think it's easy to kind of group what's going on right now and say Russia is an a-hole. Mm-hmm. But I mean, from what I've seen online and stuff, there's protests in Russia against Ukraine, and I think I think there's a lot of spinning wheels to this. But I hope that the Ukrainians put up a good fight. I think the only reason that we're not in their boots on the ground is because, because Ukraine is not a part of NATO right now. Because if they were a part of NATO, then we could put our forces on the ground and help them. I think that's what it is. But I just think, Putin is very corrupt. Not only have there been accusations and some evidence leaning towards him trying to interfere with our elections, which, just to be clear, I don't think he had enough power to really influence. I don't think anything would have changed.
Usually where there's smoke, there's a little bit of fire.
Yeah. But there has been proof that he's muddled with the own elections in Russia. Mm-hmm. From what I understand, he's prior KGB as well. And I just think I think it's just kind of.
Did you see the statement he made, like the speech or whatever, to the media that he made on Wednesday? That his main reasoning for this is revenge. He actually used the term revenge. Of course, I don't speak Russian. I'm reading subtitles, so I don't know if that's 100% true. I always speculate stuff.
And the subtitles were in Russian, so.
No, but I saw that he wants revenge against the U.S. and its allies because of how they were treated when they used to be the Soviet Union.
Yeah,
and it's kind of scary, man. Like you see these videos coming out of Ukraine from there's people, Ukrainians doing the live streams on TikToks.
It's so crazy, yeah.
And it's kind of, I was talking about it with a friend the other day, It's kind of crazy the world we live in where we can actually see that.
Yep.
On this.
Yeah, and what that does is it humanizes what's going on.
Yeah, it does.
Because it's easy.
It's good. I actually think it's a good thing.
I think it's good too, because I think it's easy to be like, oh, that stuff's happening overseas, this, that, and the other. It's not directly affecting us. And I think most people, and maybe myself included, is that if something doesn't directly affect me, I don't really pay that much attention to it, But to see, like you're talking about, like these videos being put out on like TikTok and even on Twitter. I just was on Reddit today. I like to browse Reddit. And there was a couple of videos of a Russian troop who was captured by Ukraine, by the Ukrainians. And this soldier was a kid. Probably 18 or 19 years old.
A Russian soldier kid?
Yeah. Looks like he didn't even want to be there, and didn't know what was going on. And I think everything that's going on as far as, the transparency of seeing what's going on with videos and stuff is humanizing everything. And I think that what's happening is people are like, we don't want war at all. I think what it is, I think it's corrupt leaders, and not just in Russia, but, I think there's, China. I think China is one of those people. I'll just throw it out there. Obviously, North Korea, but I just think that the Russian citizens, most of them sound like they don't even want this to be going on.
Well, I totally agree with that. But we make the mistake as Americans. We think everything's hunky dory a lot.
Yeah,
and everything's good, but there's a lot of ideology and stuff out there that started the First World War and the Second World War,
right?
Of corrupt dictators. Like we can't, because of course, like you and me, we're not part of that generation,
right?
Where we've seen it, so we just think everything's it's all good.
Right.
But there's a lot of evil, and there's a lot of evil in this world. Oh, excuse me. And don't forget that it's out there.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right, and I think we've almost become spoiled as Americans, maybe, because, like I said, all the conflict's been overseas. It really hasn't been here since 9/11. There's been terrorist attacks, every couple of years, but I just think it's easy without, seeing how this affects people. I think it's easy to kind of
forget
or just not really care. But I think it boils down to Putin. I think it just boils down to his corrupt ways, and I think I really hope that we kick their butt.
Are you surprised that this is happening, though?
So,
are you?
Without getting too political, we can if you want, but every presidency.
Are you surprised, I should say, that Putin is capable mentally of doing this?
No, because I think
that's what I'm getting at.
Yeah, no. I think. I'll say this. I don't think Putin's a rational person. I don't think he's rational. So to think that he would react in any way rationally to any sort of rational thought, like, you can't combat that this way, because people.
So you're not surprised that this is happening?
Maybe
this isn't like if tomorrow Biden starts invading Mexico. That's a surprise. Are you surprised?
And it's not even avocado season, So
you hear about all that going on?
No.
The avocado wars?
No.
Oh, there's a documentary on Netflix you gotta check out.
Really?
It's a deadly war. On avocados. I'm not kidding.
Really?
Check it out.
Okay.
Check it out. Avocados is a big multi-million-dollar market. But no, I'm not surprised that Putin does this. I'm kind of like almost like expecting it, because he just seems like he wants power. That's just what it is.
Well, when I was in the military, he did it with another country. I can't think.
Syria.
Well, Syria was.
He's been bombing Syria for a long time.
Syria was when I was in the military. That was the whole Syria thing happened. I think within the first 3 months of Trump's presidency. And I remember there was reports on the news that Trump and them saw chemical weapons being used on kids, and it really affected them. So they missiled, plants that produce the chemicals, military installations, which is usually what you do in war. You go after the military installations. But with Putin as their dictator, I don't think it's really surprising. But I mean, some people have been concerned about him possibly dropping nukes.
Yeah.
But I think there's so much stuff going on. We've done. I agree with the sanctions that we put in, although I want direct action, of course. I think that Russia, China, and North Korea, and maybe even Saudi Arabia are all together. Because I don't think our sanctions are going to affect Russia as much as we hope. Because
Saudi Arabia, really?
I think Russia.
Because of
I
the
think
oil?
So. I thought I read some stuff where
I've always thought of Russia, China,
yeah.
and
China's the big one.
I've never thought of North Korea. Well, apparently Taiwan is putting up defensive stuff right now because Taiwan's being in fear of being invaded by China.
Yeah, right. Yep, you're exactly right.
And some people are saying, well, then this is going to be a strike from North Korea to South Korea and gain their property back that they think that they.
Well, if that happens, and that is going to lead to a war, because I believe South Korea is part of NATO, and
they are.
And pretty much what the doctrine is that if attack on one, it's attack on all. But I don't think the sanctions are going to affect Russia as much as I would have hoped, because I think China is going to foot the bill on a lot of that and help them with resources that we're taking away.
I think that's the reason he's still doing it, because he knew that sanctions would be put on or whatever. Putin don't give a rip.
Well, get this too. When they had a vote to be like, you need to stop this Putin sort of thing, it was almost unanimous except for one country, which was Russia, and there were 3 or 2 other countries that abstained: China, I think North Korea, and I think Saudi Arabia, or it was something like that. And that's what made me think. But, and like I said, the only reason we don't have boots on the ground, from my understanding, is that Ukraine is not part of NATO, which I think was what led to this attack. I think it's been obviously years in the making, but I think part of it was that Ukraine was close to wanting to join NATO. And what that means is that if Ukraine joins NATO, then that means that other NATO countries, maybe the U.S., could put like a military base in Ukraine, could put up missile, short range, long range ballistic missiles, and that scares Putin, I think. And so,
you think there should be boots on the ground right now, U.S. troops?
I understand why they're not, but I'm a person who kind of wants to show them that they can't just go around bullying people. Yeah. So, I mean, here's the thing. I think first off, we see that people in Russia are, I would say the majority are against going into Ukraine. I think what's going on is a lot of their soldiers are just being told what to do, and they have to do it or else they'll get killed. I think that's, maybe not killed, but I think they'll, go to jail, obviously.
They go to Siberia.
Oh, really?
That's like a real thing.
Oh, yeah.
They have a military prison, the Siberian part. Yeah.
Well, as corrupt as the Russian leadership is, like, I mean, that video of that Russian soldier who was captured, I feel bad because he was like, it's almost like he didn't even want to be there. Yeah. And, dude, like, it's just, nobody wants this anymore, And I hate bullies, no matter what form they take, whether it's at school or particularly people who are in a position of power who take advantage of that power. I hate that. Let me tell you. That's my Trump impression. But
no,
I would love to kind of stick it in their face, because. I think Russia talks a big game, or Putin tries to make people think Russia is this vast, military powerhouse.
Just like Kim Jong-un.
Right. Well, I think as far as foot soldiers, North Korea has
the largest in the world,
which is crazy.
But
yeah,
they got limited equipment. They got outdated equipment. They got
right.
Soviet Union planes.
Yep.
They got all this stuff. It was
right, and that's the thing I think about Russia is. I think I heard a couple of years ago that, there was, obviously it's going to happen to any country, but there was severe famine in Russia and people were really struggling in Russia.
It's a poor country.
Yeah.
Such as China, such as North Korea. People don't realize how poor they actually are and how, many parts of North Korea is third world. And I think it's the same for China. It's the same for Russia. But, you get to these dictatorship countries. And there's a good documentary out on actually Amazon Prime called One Child Nation. It's about China. For 30 years, it was the law. I don't know if you knew this. It was the law for many times that families could only have one child.
In China? Mm-hmm. Yeah, because of overpopulation.
And if families had a second child, the families out of fear of being killed by the government, would kill their children, unfortunately. So
dang.
That's the type of manipulation that these dictators have on these poor people.
Yeah.
And there's check out this documentary. It's very, 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 very good. It's very eye-opening. It's sad. It's so sad.
Yeah.
But you look at like these countries, but they're extremely poor, these countries. And in this documentary, a lot of it was, and you know, we have states here in the U.S., but they have villages, and then they have village leaders. And if, you know, a village leader had seen a family that had a second child, they'd tell the government military would come in, burn their house, and kill the parents.
That's crazy. That's messed up, man.
Yeah. And that wasn't that long ago.
Yeah.
We're talking 25 years ago. And now their country is no one's there to take care of the elderly.
Where, in China?
Because they only had one. Families weren't allowed to procreate more than one child, so they got not enough younger citizens to take care of the older
Interesting.
citizens.
Yep. Man, it's so crazy. So hopefully Ukrainians put up a good fight. I hope something happens.
I've heard they are.
I've heard they are too.
Yeah, I've heard they are putting up a good fight.
And I hope that, I don't know what it would be, but I hope something happens that forces NATO to go in there and push back Russian forces. Because I just hate bullies, and I just think Putin's like number one, you know. And you know, going back to the whole China thing, I think what I heard or somebody was talking on the news about was that the reason why Putin's putting all his forces on the Ukraine situation is because he doesn't have to worry about China doing anything to that border there,
right? Because
they're buddy or something. So I don't know. I just I'm not a fan of the leadership in Russia or China or, you know, North Korea.
The U.S.
yeah.
Really, most places except for Florida, you know.
yeah.
At least I am for sure.
Yeah.
You know?
So we'll see what happens with that, but you know, I hope they put up a good fight, and I think you know, good guys will win. At least I hope they will.
Have you heard about the Ghost of Kyiv?
Yeah, I heard that was a simulation though. That was like
as my research before you got over here, and I don't know. Of course, I don't know if this is true. It's just I really don't believe anything. I always doubt everything that I read online or watch on the news because. I don't know. I doubt things a lot, and I question things. But the president of Ukraine confirmed that the ghost of Kyiv, right? Is that how
Kyiv or something?
Kyiv is 100% true.
Okay,
but he could be saying that too, to rile his people up. And you know what? If it's not true, who gives a rip? Let the Ukrainians believe it's 100% true. Get them Ukraine. Yeah, Ukraine. I mean. Whatever helps morale, man.
Right.
And I think it's true.
So
I think it is.
I think it's true. I think maybe some of the videos might be from like a
random plane.
I thought I saw like on this fact checker thing that it was like a simulation, like a video game type thing, a flight simulation. But I'm not saying that the Ghost of Kyiv doesn't exist. I'm just saying that maybe some of the stuff is there to boost morale. But
dude, I think it's so cool though. Isn't that cool though?
Yeah, that is.
Well, like back to what I was saying, like the world that we live in, we have this information directly on our phone instantly, and they're 2 days into this attack, and then you're already hearing about this, and then you're already hearing about the Ukrainians blew up a Russian base, and then you see this all over the news today. You see this interaction between a Russian battleship. Do you see this?
No, I haven't.
Oh, it's going viral right now. Russian battleship was like on the coast of Ukraine, and there's like a little military base there, and they're on like a megaphone saying, "You guys need to evacuate, or we'll blow you up, or whatever." And the Ukrainian guy goes, "Russian battleship, you can go F yourself." And it's all over the news. It's all over TikTok. Yeah, it's just.
I think I may have seen that.
It's just cool to see. I don't know. It's just kind of cool to see this stuff like come out. As sad as it is, but it is kind of cool that the world that we live in, where we can see this stuff and we can actually see the good, and we can read about it. We can see it. We can see it on our phones, on TikTok or whatever.
Yeah.
Instead of just on the news where it's just negative. But you can actually like read it for yourself. You can do things for yourself in today's age.
Yep, exactly. And to see, possibly events unfold live, I mean, I think my brother was saying, like, he was watching a live cam footage of Kyiv, like capital, and
they had multiple live things of Kyiv. Just they were going for hours. There was a woman on TikTok who I saw a couple days ago. It looked like she had like her phone like in her window, like in her bedroom or something, at the capital of Kyiv, like in an apartment. And she might have fell asleep or something, but the live stream had been going like 18 hours.
Dang.
And there was helicopters flying by and stuff. It was pretty wild.
That's crazy. It's just crazy to think that, all of a sudden one day there's this missiles flying, there's Russian helicopters hovering, and I mean, dude, the president of Ukraine, he is a BA, because he's staying there, and fighting, and man, like I said, I hope the good guys win. I think they will.
They always have.
I just wish that there was more we could do, but I understand you don't want to you don't want to do a world war.
Yeah, you got to be careful with this kind of stuff. So it's like, what do we do right now? Do we just immediately go? Obviously, sanctions, correct. I mean, everyone knows that's going to happen.
Time, though,
that's going to take some time. However, do we put boots on the ground? Do we at least do flyovers with jets?
Right.
Do we put ships on the coast?
Well,
I think right now, I mean, as much as I hate to say it, do we just kind of wait and just be prepared?
Yeah.
Or do we just kind of wait to see what happens? But I mean, there's that other thing too, because like if the U.S. jumps in, there's a big war going to happen, and that's not. I don't want that. Nobody wants that.
Nobody wants that.
Apparently, Russia, China, and North Korea. North Korea's been begging for it for years. But.
And I did hear that. First off, I did hear that Biden signed a bill to give $400 million in aid to them, which is good. So I think that might be weapons and stuff.
Like that kind of stuff is awesome. They should do.
And
that.
I did hear that there are NATO forces in NATO countries right around there. But I mean, World War II, Germany first started taking, Poland, I think, was like one of the first countries they took over. And then people were like, okay, you can have Poland, but just don't do anything else. And he kept going. And that's what led to World War II, like and a bunch of other stuff. But that's one of the things, like, what's going to, where's Putin going to stop? I don't think he's going to stop. I think
from what he said earlier this week, it was to get revenge on the U.S. and its allies. So what does that mean?
Right.
What does that mean?
And he made a pretty ominous threat that if you I don't know what he said, if you don't support, if you get in our way, there's going to be consequences that have never been seen before. Which some people thought he might have been talking about nukes or something. But I don't know about that. My first thought goes to maybe a cyber attack or something. Yeah. Because
I think they don't even have. They still have TVs with backs on it that wide still in Russia. They don't have. Yeah. Dude, Russia, as far as economic stuff, they're not. As far as citizens go, they're not that well off. At least, I mean, they are well off compared to a lot of other countries, but not like we are. Canada is or anything like that. But it's a dictatorship country. He's going to put that money into his military.
Yep. So, right. So, kind of close this conversation. I
don't think there's really more to be said other than we'll see what happens. I hope, man. My thoughts are with him. I've been thinking about it a lot the last few days, and I mean, I hope everything. Like you said, I hope the good guys win and just totally.
Yeah.
And I honestly, Putin deserves to die for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he's been using chemical weapons on Syria for several years now, or at least was at one time, and that's a fact. He has been. They've been dropping barrels of makeshift chemicals. Another documentary out sometime, but won an Oscar. But yeah, I hope everything's good and works out for Ukraine. So
yeah, and everything is unfolding as we speak. So it will be interesting to see what happens. And like I said, I mean, obviously, I support Ukraine. Their president is a BA.
They've been peaceful. That's the thing. Like it seemed like it was just definitely unprovoked, and I don't know. I think we should move on to something more positive.
Yeah.
When was
Disease.
Famine. When was the last time you made a macaroni sculpture?
Never.
You've never done like a macaroni piece of art like when you were a kid?
Oh! I thought you were talking about like if you cook mac and cheese and then you just kind of form something.
No, like when you get the glue.
Probably like 5th grade or something.
Dude, that.
Seriously?
Gosh, dang, I was probably like in 1st grade. Look at you.
Oh, really?
You had puberty really.
I don't remember. My voice just cracked.
Exactly.
I don't remember when I made macaroni thing.
I think I did in Sunday school a lot.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Sure I did.
Well, I like what you've done with the place.
Yeah. I haven't done anything to it, which is
the way we like it.
Which is probably the best thing. You know, Sam back there, he's going to stay exactly where Sam is, but I love Sam Elliott. I just love him.
We last time we did the podcast, we had just seen Jackass 4, right?
We did.
Or have we talked about that?
We did talk about it.
Oh,
yeah,
okay,
we did talk about it in the first podcast. We just saw Jackass 4. Because you came over on a Sunday and we recorded the podcast. And we saw it on Saturday night.
That's right.
That was a good one. That was a good one. But I know we left it at the last podcast. I mean, do you have any idea what to talk about? Because I do.
No, go ahead.
Okay, so at the last podcast, you wanted to talk about and the effects of the internet on today's age, you know, or in today's generation. I mean, because people who listen, and you and me, we're millennials and proud millennials, but you know, I think we're kind of the last generation that actually grew up and was born without cell phones in your face.
Yeah,
and
we were
out riding bikes as a kid. I was out building tree houses, riding bikes as a kid,
almost causing forest fires,
getting muddy. Yeah. I was that kid growing up, and you know, getting in trouble, hopping fences.
Did your parents make you go home when the street lights came on?
Yeah, they did up to a certain age. But yeah, I was out riding bikes with all the neighborhood kids and stuff. And as soon as the street lights came on, and if I was late, my mom would be out there on the back porch or the front porch waiting for me. I remember that a couple times, because she would like. You know, my mom, she's a worrier. That's just how she is. And that's and yeah, if I like came buzzing around the street, you know, I was
Jaron with a big old curly fro.
Yeah, with a curly fro, and like I would be pedaling, trying to at least beat the street lights, or they just came on my way back to the house. And I remember one time, I don't know if it happened more than once, but there was one time my mom was already sitting there on the back, standing out there on the back porch, like poking her head out the back door, like, "We're again."
Yeah.
Like, I'm here.
Call 911.
call the BMT.
For me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was born in '93. You were born in like '83 or something.
What? No.
When did you get your first? Because you're talking about like technology. Like, yeah, we were the.
So when I got my first cell phone, I was actually one of the first people in our school that got one.
How old were you? Do you remember?
It was 8th grade. Believe it or not. And I remember I was one of. I wasn't but I was one of. And the reason I had one, well, of course, my parents didn't pay for, you know, electronics when I was growing up. If I wanted a game console, I had to buy it myself. I wanted a cell phone. So I bought the cell phone myself. I saved up my allowance. I got my first cell phone. And I really wanted it for one. I wanted to be cool. And then two, I did sports after school. And I needed a phone to call my parents if they needed to come pick me up, or if I can hitch a ride, or if I'm going to walk home.
Yeah.
So that's actually one of the main reasons I did it was because of that. And then right after I felt like I got a cell phone, like within like that second half of the school year, everyone started getting one. I had a Net 10 prepaid phone. It actually was.
So you were like 12. Is 8th grade 12?
No, it's like 14.
8th grade is 14.
Yeah, because 9th grade, you're a freshman. Yeah,
dude. Nowadays, people are giving their kids phones at like 8.
Isn't that stupid? That is so dumb.
Okay, so you know, I don't know. Whenever I have kids and when I get to that point, I will let you know. But I think times have definitely evolved and changed. I almost think, a couple people I know got cell phones when they were really young because they had divorced parents and they would spend time with one parent or the other and they'd have a phone to keep tabs on them or whatever. So circumstances like that I can understand. I didn't get my first phone. It wasn't even bought by me. It was bought by a friend named Casey from church, and for my birthday, her mom gave her like $60, and her and I went and bought like a track phone.
They're all prepaid pretty much at the time.
And I remember you were cool if you had one of those Razor flip phones.
Oh my god,
I wanted that so bad. And I remember
Motorola made some good phones then, man.
One of my rich friends had it, and I was like, "This kid has everything, dude."
He's got a Razor.
He's got a Razor.
Phone and a scooter.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's crazy to think. That because when we grew up, dial-up was just getting phased out a little bit.
Yeah, I definitely remember that. See, I was raised by parents who were pretty old school in the sense, at least my dad for sure. Pretty old school. He was like the last person that I had known to actually get a cell phone in like 2007 or something. I'm not kidding you.
Dang.
And it might have been a little bit later than that, but I don't know. But I do remember when I was a kid when we got our first DVD player, and my parents were, of course, probably the last people to get a DVD player.
Yeah.
But when my dad got the DVD player, he went all out. He got the surround sound and everything. Like, he made sure he got like the whole shebang. It was a Sony surround sound that everyone had. I have it actually upstairs from the previous owners of this house, but I don't have the whatever you call it. But I grew up. I was raised by parents who were relatively old school, and then two, like I said, my parents never got into the video games. If I wanted my Game Boy Color or my Game Boy Advance or my Game Boy Advance SP or my
still have those, by the way, too.
I have my Game Boy Advance. My Game Boy Color is gone.
You have a Game Boy printer.
I do, but no Game Boy Color. That's for the Game Boy Color. And I have the printer. That's actually my sister's. So me and my sister were really heavily into the Game Boy Color. She had a purple one. I had a lime green one. And she had all the attachments with it. I mean, she saved up her allowance. She was really good with that. But my parents would never buy me and my sister that. If you want a new bike, get you a new bike. Stuff like that. But when it came to electrical something, no, they didn't buy it. But my parents, which I have no regrets. I think that was the freaking best. But I got an allowance for doing my chores every week, and I just save for months and months and months, and then I'd go buy it. Like we had a Nintendo GameCube that me and my sister combined our allowances together to buy when the GameCube first came out.
Nice.
Yeah. And what else? I mean,
how much was your allowance?
I don't remember. I don't know. As I'm telling you, I'm trying to think because I knew you'd ask that, but I really don't remember. It was probably I think it depended on the age because I started getting allowance when I was like 5 or 6. Because my dad put me to work mowing the yard when I was like 5, 6 years old. Did a crappy job, but
I didn't do that stuff for free, dog.
Yeah, and take out the trash every week, empty the dishwasher, and I'm not surprised that you'd say I'd do it for free, but it helped me understand the concept of money and saving it.
Yep.
I'd be like, man, I want that, and my parents would be like, well, I don't think Santa Claus or we can get you that for Christmas. You just have to save your money. And if I truly wanted something, I would have done it. And I learned the concept of saving money and how to spend it wisely. But
was your allowance, was that motivation to do the chores? Were you
No, not at all.
Okay.
Not at all.
Okay.
Not at all.
So even if they didn't give you an allowance, you still they would have made you done those things.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. But my dad, who he is, if you did your choice, he'd pay you. Yeah. It was just that simple. He'd pay you. Because he knew it was the right thing. But anyway, so technology, and we are probably like the last generation that actually grew up like an 80s kid. But we're kind of like in a weird split because I think, video game consoles started getting really big and as far as like considered like a home appliance when we were probably in like the 6th grade with the Xbox 360 and the PS3. Right? I remember like 6th grade or something.
Let me preach on it a little bit. No, I think that was for us because that was the time when we started developing that habit pretty good. So I think to us, that's when we think it was. I do agree with you though. Almost everybody had a PS2.
Yep, I had one.
PS2, even today, is the highest selling console ever.
Is it really?
Yep, the PlayStation 2.
It was ahead of its time.
Everybody had one.
Ahead of its time.
Xbox 360. So I think in the late 90s, when Sony released the PlayStation 1, that's when Sega stopped making consoles.
What was that? Dreamcast?
Yes, they had a Sega Dreamcast.
Sega Dreamcast,
yep.
Yeah. We were playing Crazy Taxi on that.
Oh, yeah.
At my church.
That? Yep. I remember playing on the Sega Dreamcast. There's a Nintendo 64. There was the Saturn. I don't know if you ever played the Saturn.
I never had the Nintendo 64.
Okay, because I did.
I would go to my friend's house who lived up the street from me, and we'd play Mario and whatever all the time.
Yeah.
Or baseball or Madden.
Yeah.
Like Madden 1998 or whatever.
Yeah.
On the Nintendo. But I never had those. My first game console, which would have been the PS1, then the Kyiv, PS2, PS3, PS4, and now the Xbox.
S or whatever. I could talk about this like for a whole podcast, but
let's not, because we'll save it. But
I'll just say, in 2008, right around there was the housing crisis.
Yeah,
and there was I think it's not depression, but it was a Great Recession.
Yeah,
and the thing that survived the Great Recession, the thing that is striving now with COVID when it hit, is video games.
Isn't that crazy?
That's crazy, and
multi-billion-dollar industry, man.
Oh, dude, there's so much money in there, and that's why companies like Google, Amazon, Apple are trying to get into the video game space because there's so much money to be made there. Which I could talk about.
I think it doesn't matter if in 20 years or 10 years if you play video games in VR or whatever, it's still gonna be gaming. People are always going to want to play games. I mean, this is like the new norm.
You're absolutely right. People are always going to want to play games.
This is obviously not a phase and not going to fade out.
Nope.
You know, it's like in Back to the Future, when he's at the arcade and the disco 80s or whatever. You mean you have to use your hands? It was arcades in the 80s, primarily in the 80s and even the 90s.
Right.
And then we go, we can take this arcade home. So,
So when the Xbox 360 came out, I remember almost everybody had an Xbox 360. That's what I remember. Surprisingly, though,
I didn't.
No, you didn't. You didn't. Surprisingly, though, the numbers don't show that. I mean, they show that Xbox 360 sold well, but it wasn't as much as the PS2 or even the PS3. PS3 sold well.
Really? I would have thought the Xbox would have.
That's what I would have thought too.
The 360 would have blown everyone out of the water.
But it didn't. It didn't.
Wow.
But so there were a lot of factors. But yeah, right around. I would say, yeah. So 2008, we would have been like 8th grade, I think.
Yeah, because my sister graduated in 2007. 9th grade.
I think the Xbox came out in 2005, the 360, and the PS3 came out in 2006.
I just remember being at wrestling practice, and I was wrestling Ben Milks. Okay. And we were talking about the 360, and I think it was the 8th grade. Cause I wrestled in the 8th grade. Yeah.
I mean, back in those days, it was like Call of Duty
World
at War came
robot,
out.
Dude.
Yeah.
There was games that came out at that time that would probably still hold up pretty damn good today.
Yeah. I think you're right. But Halo 3 came out on Xbox 360. It still kind of blows my mind a little bit that the first two Halos came. I have to keep on reminding myself, like, oh yeah, the first two Halos came out on original Xbox. But anyways, I can talk about games all the time.
Well, okay, so back to the thing here. So like, speaking of this guy that grew up from the street from me, he had an Xbox 360,
and I remember the summer that he got it. He got it like the first week of summer, and school got out. I spent the whole summer. We're best friends. Couldn't live without each other, inseparable. And didn't see him all summer. I'm out riding my bike around. I'm not kidding. I'm riding my bike around the neighborhood, riding my Razor scooter, breaking my shins, everything. rollerblading. Why not?
No way.
I had rollerblades, man.
I used to love the rollerblade.
Well, it was a 90s thing. The rollerblades were a 90s thing. They really were. And so me and my sister, we grew up with the rollerblades, especially my sister. She was big into that because she's older and she was born in actually the late 80s. But
I picture you like doing something to make her mad and you're like running down like the sidewalk and she's just coming on like her rollerblades.
But anyway, so I didn't see him for like 2 months.
Yeah.
I was like, what the heck, man? Like I would call him. He'd be like, yeah, I'm just real busy, man. I'm just real busy. Didn't see him for 2 months, man.
Yeah.
Did not see him for 2 months. And I called him up, and like he lives 5 houses up the street from me, but I can still even tell you the home phone number. His parents don't even live there anymore.
Yeah, I gotcha.
It was just one of those things. I can still tell you that home phone number. It was a 781 number. But he would. I called him. I was like, dude, let's hang out, man. Yeah, I'll be down in a few minutes. And he comes down on his Razor scooter down the hill, and he comes up to the driveway. That dude put on like 80 pounds. No. Yeah. I was like, and that's the first thing I said. Like, we're like in the 8th grade or whatever. I was like, dude, you put on some weight. That's the first thing I said. He goes, yep, I have. My mom's kind of mad at me about it. And that was like, I'm like, what have you been doing, man? He's like, I got a 360 at the beginning of the summer. I was like, yeah, I know, but what does that have to do with, that's all I've been doing also.
Oh my gosh.
His parents didn't make him do anything. So, like, when I was growing up, me and my sister had a Nintendo Cube, and we played a game called Medal of Honor Rising Sun, which I think was one of the best, was above its time at the time.
Yeah.
Because of the split-screen technology and stuff like that, and you can play against AI. And we played that for, like, a week straight in the basement and did nothing. And we played split-screen against AI.
Nice.
And my dad came down there, because my dad had weird work schedule at the time. So he would, work for like 2 weeks and have like a few days off or whatever. And we played down there for like a week and a half and did nothing. And he come down here and goes, "What are you guys doing?" And we're like, "We're playing video games." No, you're not. No, you're not. How long have you guys been down here? It smells like butthole basically down here. And we're like, what time is it? He's like, I'm home for work. It's like 7 o'clock at night, 7 p.m. How long have you guys been down here? Oh, dude. We probably got down here about 9 or 10 a.m. in the morning.
Oh, let's go.
And that's what we did for a week.
Yeah.
And my dad forced us, nope, turn it off. And you basically just go outside.
Yeah.
That's basically what it was.
Yeah.
But man, I mean, like the video game, we're like in that weird area of the video game era. And then once when live gameplay with the 360 and the PS3 came out, of course, that completely just changed the world and how you do things. And I remember playing the Xbox 360 at Ben's house when I was growing up, and he had the first ever Battlefield. Well, no, Battlefield 1942 came out in like 99 or 2000.
Yeah.
But one of the Battlefields.
Yeah.
One of the Battlefields at that time. And I remember I had a sleepover at his house. I ended up staying all night playing Battlefield.
Nice.
And the whole next day, I kept seeing red spots from the enemies. They had like red marks over them.
Oh yeah.
For like a whole day, the whole next day, I could not see nothing but like red dots. I'm like, an enemy.
Like having like PTSD.
Oh my gosh, it was like brainwashing me, and I was horrible at the game. But I'll never forget that. That video game era was.
Yeah. It is. Yeah. Every generation now is going to grow up knowing the internet.
It's a common appliance.
Technology.
Now. It's a common appliance. Like, there's a guy that I work with. He's actually our age. He's got a couple kids. He don't play video games on it. He uses it for Blu-ray, Netflix, and other things. Occasionally, he might play a video game, but he's got kids to take care of. But it's like a common appliance now. It used to be DVD players, and it went to it was VHS when I was growing up, and then DVD, and now Blu-ray, and now it's all digital. For the most part, it's digital. For the most part. And streaming.
I was going to say.
So you use an Xbox for that if you don't have a smart TV.
Getting a PS5 or Xbox Series X is cheaper than getting a 4K Blu-ray player.
Yeah.
Like it's because 4K Blu-ray players, dude, like almost like $600-700, dude. It's crazy.
Are you serious? They're that much?
It's crazy for 4K. Yeah, dude, they're expensive. Maybe they're not that much, but they're almost as much as an Xbox or a PS5. And might as well just
that's like when you talk about video games, like with like a person who's an older generation, they're like, oh, whatever. Like you talk about Xbox or something, like you don't understand what how it is right now. It is an appliance in the house. You got to have it.
Yeah, right.
I love playing video games just because it takes my mind off stuff. Even if the game pisses me off, I'm thinking about something other than what happened at work that day or other stresses or whatever.
Yes, right.
It's awesome. And I use my game console to play video games. I don't use it for Blu-rays or Netflix. I use it to play video games. I got both the TVs I use are smart TVs, so that's not a problem. But a lot of people use them for Netflix and Blu-ray. I think your parents do actually.
Yeah, they do.
I see your mom logged in, watching
YouTube TV.
YouTube TV or something. Yeah.
Yep.
But that's just kind of the norm. I don't personally do that, but that's just kind of the norm. But
I know. I mean, we'll do a full podcast to it, but the power of video games is crazy. Like it, you talked about how, absolutely. You talked about how it helps you take your mind off things. Anytime I start feel like I get in a panic attack or anxiety, I'll go try to play a game that's not too, that I have to focus on.
Yeah. I will say this, like I remember, I was a pretty active kid. I was always in sports or something, but I played a lot of video games, and I remember my dad, kind of harping on me for playing too much one day or something. And I was like, I read an article. I like school. I read an article. The more video games you play, your attention span and your reflexes increase.
Yeah.
So, I was like an ad on YouTube right now. I was watching a YouTube video today, and it's like a doctor. He's playing games as there's like a surgery going on behind him or something.
Oh, really?
And he's like, and like the announcer over the commercials, like, doctors who play video games have a higher chance of successful surgeries. And he's like, I game for you. And he's like sitting there, and like a robot puts a Cheeto in his mouth or something.
Sick.
Yeah.
So, what video games are you playing lately?
Farming Simulator 2022 and Call of Duty right now, Warzone.
Yeah. I just beat the Halo Infinite campaign, and it was awesome. I've been playing obviously Warzone together.
I saw you playing the campaign last night. I thought.
Yeah. I'm trying to play more story-driven games. We're playing Warzone. Not story-driven, but playing Warzone. I'm excited for MLB The Show to come out in a couple weeks.
Caleb gonna get that?
Oh yeah, it's on Game Pass. It'll be on Game Pass.
What?
So yeah, dude, it's great.
I'll get it then. I'll get it.
Okay,
I'll get it. If it's on Game Pass, I'll get it.
I'll beat your butt online.
No, you won't.
Oh, dude, yeah.
No, you won't.
100%. Yeah.
Nah, you're too dumb.
No. You're swinging the pitches in the dirt.
All right, so we ended it there. We'll end it there, and we'll do. I guess we'll see you guys probably in a couple weeks.
Yeah, hopefully.
And
maybe with a different mic.
Yeah, with a different and better mic. Don't worry, guys. I'll get a better mic here. But thanks for listening to the Listen Dude podcast, and we'll see you next time.
Yep. Let's go take a fat old shit.